So this is going to be Doberman Philosopher with a current event update for you guys. I've been following this, what's been going on in the Middle East, you know, sporadically, but when I do, I delve into it pretty hard. And two keynote figures in this conflict were eliminated today by the Israeli intelligence. One being Ismail Haniyeh, the de facto chairman, or not the de facto, the former chairman of Hamas, who's also head of their external command structure, is now dead. Fuad Shakri, who was the most senior military commander in Hezbollah, number 2 in command to Hassan Nasrallah, has been neutralized in an airstrike in downtown Beirut. Now I could go into why that's important or whatever, but that wouldn't be the main focus point of this video. The main focus of this video is to highlight how much of an incompetent, low-life, loser Ali Small Dick Khameni is as the supreme leader of Iran. And yes, I'm going to lambaste him. I'm going to belittle him. I'm going to show no respect to him because he deserves no respect. So just to give you a little, 2-minute history lesson on Iran without going into too much, extraneous details, is that Iran is the Iranians are the descendants of the Persians. Okay, the Persians were followers of the Zoroastrian religion. Now, they ended up becoming forcefully converted to Islam after they had lost a series of wars against the Islamic Caliphate, or which were the Arab armies right around the later part of the 7th century AD. There was an ancient battle you can look more into. It's called the Battle of Qadisiyah between Yazgir III, who was the Sasanian emperor at the time, versus Caliph Umar, who was the third leader after Muhammad, I believe. And they fought a war, the Persians lost, and the Arabs started forcefully converting many people to Islam. So Iran is the 17th largest country in the world, has around 630,000 square miles, so it's a big country. They have the second largest amount of natural gas reserves, the 4th largest amount of oil reserves. So then they've got a lot of minerals, copper, iron, cadmium, other things like that. So they're a big exporter of nuts, dates. So they have resources. They're not depleted of resources by any stretch of the imagination. So I believe there's something about 70 or 80 million people that live there. The GDP per capita, which is exceptionally low, is $5,000 a year. Just to give you an idea, the GDP in Israel is around $45,000 a year in US dollars. So very poor country. It does have somewhat of a high literacy rate, around 88%, but Israel's is about 97%. So just to compare the two countries, because obviously Israel, even though they're not going to take responsibility for it, they're behind the death of Ismail Haniyeh. And I'm going to get into this right now. So this is why this is important. Ismail Haniyeh was at the confirmation for the new president of Iran, Piskardian, or I think his name is, or something like that. He was the new president. And there was all the Iranian proxies and allies were there to commemorate the new president that's going to be resigning. So there's two really hilarious things here. Is that the whole reason why there's a new president in the first place is because the past president, Mohammed, I can't get a hard on, Raisi, was killed or died in a plane crash on a government jet that they were using that predates the Islamic Revolution, which means that they got that jet is a jet that was made prior to 1979, and they crashed into the side of a mountain, and the president and one of their top foreign ministers were pronounced dead. What kind of a country can't put their president in a modern, competent military jet to fly him around? I mean, it's absolutely laughable. The Iranian regime is run like a used car lot, a buy now, pay here, buy now, pay here type of place. You know the ones I'm talking about. That are usually owned by someone that looks like one of these guys. So that's interesting. Now, Ismail Haniyeh is the leader of Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization that is funded by Iran. So they're one of Iran's proxies that they use to, commit acts of terror, usually against Israel. So he's dead. And he died inside of Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. So the Iranian regime, led by Ali, child molester Khameni, he just looks like a child molester to me. He really just has very creepy vibes. He's just, I don't know, just someone that I wouldn't want to leave my 5-year-old daughter in the presence of him. If I had to take my eye off her for even a split second. But anyways, this is a regime that is absolutely provided a embarrassingly low standard of living for its people. They are poor beyond belief. Even though they are rich in natural resources, they can't even protect their own president. And one of their senior leaders of one of the major terrorist organizations that they directly fund gets killed right in the heart of their own capital. From a foreign policy standpoint, the Iranians are an absolute joke. Khameni is a loser. He's weak. He's ineffective. He's ugly. He's old. He's out of touch. And he's a fool. And he's incompetent. And the entire Iranian regime is the absolute laughing stock of civilization right now. They can't protect their own president. Despite having plentiful natural resources, their people are living in absolute poverty. They are a laughing stock in the world. They are an international sponsor of terrorism. And they can't even protect one of the guys that heads one of the operations that they fund from getting killed from Israeli Mossad operatives that obviously are operating deep within Iran. So if I was Ali Khamenei, I would go in my house, I would go in my room, and I would pull out a .45, I would rack the slide, pull the hammer down, put the muzzle of the gun inside my mouth, and I would blow my brains out. Because you are Ali Khamenei, you are an embarrassment to yourself, and you're an embarrassment to your nation. And I'm going to tell you something. I have nothing against the Iranian people. As a matter of fact, I respect the Iranian people. They're a tremendous people with a very impressive history. But they're also, in my opinion, a disgrace to their ancestors with the way that they're living right now and what they're supporting and, you know, what they stand for. So, you know, when you look at the, you know, the Iranians refer to themselves as the axis of resistance to, you know, Western imperialism and Israel's aggression, you know, whatever, they're going to say that. Why don't they start with actually improving themselves? Because these countries, like Lebanon is a shithole. Lebanon's pathetic. Okay, they're poor. They can't even control Hamas or Hezbollah. Beautiful country. But just to tell you about Lebanon, you know, Lebanon, when it was created in 1949, when they got their independence, they were the only Christian majority country in the Middle East. Now there are more Christian Lebanese living outside of Lebanon than inside of Lebanon. So Lebanon, shithole, failure, loser-ass country. You know, I just call it how I see it. Iran, absolute disgrace. Embarrassing how pathetic they are. Weak country, weak leadership, fools. You know, they just want to blame America or blame Israel or blame Europe for all their problems. You know, Israel doesn't have a lot of natural resources, and I'm not like some fanboy for Israel, but I'm just putting it in perspective. Israel exports weapons, Israel exports pharmaceuticals, Israel exports technology, software, like real things that come from a higher state of operating, a higher state of being, like higher brain capacity. Just to give you an idea, India, which is, you know, I think the third or fourth largest country by population in the world, their second biggest exporter of weapons is Israel. So, you know, I mean, Israel is way more important for the advancement of humanity and contributing to the greater good, albeit they're corrupt and they've got a lot to answer and explain for their own actions in a lot of other areas. But in general, Ali Khameni, I think you just need to jump off of a building, land head first, and you need to just kill yourself. You're a fool, you're weak, you're ineffective, and you're just an outright absolute loser and a disgrace to your nation. I'm out.